Now, issue of cultism. Let me start with the CSP. We've seen, especially during this lockdown, how quite a number of young people have been idle and found themselves in all sorts of activities. In your view as a police officer, what has been the reports of cultism in the neighborhoods, and what are you doing to help curb these activities of young people?
Police campaign against cultism and other vices, otherwise known as PCACOV, is the initiative of the Nigerian police force under the present leadership by Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar Adamu, MPM MONI. Now, the program is informed, firstly, by the realization that there's a correlation between cultism and other violent crimes like cultism, and that it's best mitigated through a strategy that is premised on community policing practices. Now, taking the ways of advocacy, awareness creation, sensitization, mentoring, and reorientation is a kind of a soft power of the Nigerian police, and it's a kind of bringing in freshness, to the ways the Nigerian police have been combating, incidences of cultism and other vices. A kind of involving different stakeholders, because in this context, we have a kind of different stakeholders involved. We are bringing in the faith-based organization, we are bringing in the parents, we are bringing in ministries, departments, and agencies. We're also bringing in traditional rulers. We are bringing in those that will reach out, so that together we join hands to raise this awareness, make this advocacy, reorientate our youth,
right,
and give them a leadership direction.
I really want to contribute to this topic on cultism.
Right.
It's a very, very touchy one for me because I spent some time in the University of Benin, and everybody knows, or to a degree, let me not assume that a lot of these cultism issues is in the tertiary institutions, in the universities, and all of that. And being in the University of Benin really opened my eyes to see a lot of stuff.
Right.
First of all, we have students who just come into school, meet the wrong crowd, and they are told, look, guy, if you want to survive, like if you want to make sure you come out alive, this is how you're going to survive. And some of them don't have a choice. Some people are forced.
Yeah.
Like they tell them, look, if you don't join, we are going to do this, we're going to do that. And sadly, quite sadly,
Right,
yes,
right. You're absolutely correct. And I'd like to talk to engage Toluse at this point.
Yeah.
Toluse, so my worry is the age keeps getting younger of people who get into cultism.
Yes.
What do we do? How do we dissuade these children from joining these groups? I mean, what can parents do to pay attention? What are the things you can equip us as parents to know? What are the signs we can see to know if our children are beginning to join cults?
I think that it's not just about young people joining cultism these days, or engaging cultism rather. I think it's also the fact that we have younger people getting admission to the university or the polytechnics than it was some years back. And because these days, education is being put in a fast-forward mode, and so people get to graduate early enough. And a lot has to do with maturity, to be very honest. Some of them have not been exposed to the kind of pressure that they experience when they get to tertiary institutions. Some probably were being driven from home to school all through their secondary school years, and then they get to the university, and it's like they're free to do whatever they want to do, and they have experienced some level of freedom. And sometimes parents forget that they still have a responsibility over their children, in spite of the fact that they're in university. And so you find out that once you gain admission, your parents hands off, and they don't even consider that they have a responsibility anymore. Each time I have the opportunity to engage tertiary institution students, the question that I ask them is, aside from studying, aside from coming to these schools to is your goal? What is your aim? Did you just decide that, look, let me just go to school and study? Or have you looked at yourself and asked yourself, what other things can I engage in that will take my time? Because idleness is very key to the things that you engage yourself with.
The solution is not far-fetched. You will observe that we've lost values in our homes. We copy foreign culture, whether they are good or they are bad. We can't discipline our children. I've meditated in certain homes where you see parents talk to each other anyhow in front of their children, where you see children talk back to their parents, and nothing is done. So when we're talking about doing this, I recall in the 80s I was doing my first degree in university. My father was a senior military officer at that time. They wanted me in the cult so bad that the reason they wanted me in the cult was to. So when there's a problem, my father would be at hand to rescue them from the police station. They always have reasons to invite people to the cult. They don't just bring anybody to the cult. If you are not going to add any value to their cult, they won't invite you.
What could have been done to prevent them from turning into cults as a means of escape?
We have people from the university that we are working with. We have people from the police institutes also that we are working with. Most of them are all psychologists too. So what we do is we interface them with these consequences, because at the point of initiation, because that's what we find out, at the point of initiation, they are not told about these consequences. What they just tell them is that those juicy things that can bring them in, tell you that you'll be connected, that this is what for you too. So we work on them with this and use it in the mentoring activities and our reorientation activities.
Right.